Have you ever stared at a totally blank spreadsheet and just felt the sudden wave of dread? Yeah, we've all been there. But today, we're going to flip that feeling completely on its head. In this explainer, we're going to see why that blank canvas isn't actually a daunting task at all. It's really this amazing, empowering space where you can take total control of your financial destiny. And honestly, it takes just a few minutes.
So be honest with yourself for a second. Do you actually know exactly where your money goes? Like, really know? Most of us kind of just guess, or, we cross our fingers and wait for that credit card statement to give us a nasty surprise at the end of the month. But what if I told you there's a totally superior, hands-on solution that puts you firmly in the driver's seat?
Here's our roadmap for today. First, ditching your budgeting apps. 2, the IKEA effect of money. 3, building a 5-minute tracker. 4, defining your expense categories. And finally, upgrading your manual tracker. Let's get right into it.
Section 1. Ditching your budgeting apps. Now, you might be thinking, hey, automated apps are the ultimate convenience. But consider this. Literally 96% of people report having made a budget at some point. 96%. But here's the catch. A Consumer Financial Protection Bureau study shows that very few actually check it daily or even weekly. So why is that? Well, it's because automated apps do all the tracking for us behind the scenes, and that actually makes us passive. We download the app, feel this quick little burst of accomplishment, and then we completely ignore it. You see, automated budgeting apps definitely give us a broad overview, sure, but they lead to low engagement, a really passive attitude, and honestly, almost zero behavioral change. On the flip side, manual tracking requires you to be active. It's totally customizable, highly engaging, and most importantly, it forces a level of daily awareness that automated apps just can't match. I mean, when you do it by hand, you actually have to physically record every single transaction. Moving on to Section 2, the IKEA effect of money. So, the IKEA effect is this fascinating cognitive bias where we place a much higher value on things that we build ourselves. Think about it. You know that bookshelf you wrestled to put together for 3 hours on a Saturday? You probably love that bookshelf way more than a pre-assembled one, right? Well, the exact same principle applies to your budget. Putting pen to paper, or in our case, actually typing your own data into a spreadsheet, it drastically deepens your sense of ownership. When you build a system, you're inherently way more committed to actually following through on your financial goals.
There's a great quote that says, "The act of manually recording every transaction keeps you close to the details." And let's be real for a second. There is definitely a mild discomfort when you have to manually type into a spreadsheet that you just spent, $40 on takeout for the 3rd time this week? But you know what? You should absolutely embrace that. That exact discomfort is literally what drives the absolute best behavioral change, especially during your very first month of tracking.
Section 3. Building a 5-minute tracker.
All right, here's where we dive right into the action-first tutorial to build this blank canvas from scratch. And I promise you, setting this whole shebang up is going to take you 5 minutes or less. Ready? Step 1, just open up a blank Google Sheet or Excel file. Step 2, type in 5-column headers. Step 3, add a data validation rule to create your drop-down categories. Step 4, pop in a couple of basic formulas. And Step 5, start logging your expenses. It's really that simple.
Okay, so this is exactly what those 5 columns should look like. Date, category, description, amount, and notes. For example, let's say it's April 21st. You hit the groceries category, the description is Trader Joe's, the amount is $64.30, and the note simply says weekly run, even though, we all know half of that was probably just on seasonal snacks. But that's it. Just a single, simple row for each transaction. This is literally all you need to start seeing exactly where your cash is flowing.
Now for the real magic that makes this a dynamic tool. I highly encourage you to just pause this explainer right now and copy these 2 incredibly easy formulas. By placing equals sum D:D at the top of your sheet, it's going to automatically calculate your total spending for the month as you type. And that second formula, it searches your entire amount column, finds the highest number, and spits out the exact category name right next to it. It's basically like having a built-in financial assistant pointing out your biggest spending leaks.
Section 4. Defining your expense categories. So you've got your columns and your formulas all set up. Awesome. Now we need to figure out exactly how to populate those category drop-down menus so your data is actually useful to you. To build effective categories, you've got to understand the fundamental split between fixed costs and variable costs. Fixed costs are predictable, they're recurring, they basically form the structural baseline of your budget. Think rent, your mortgage, or car insurance. Variable costs, though, those are the ones that fluctuate based on your behavior. They are highly controllable by your daily habits. things like groceries, dining out, or, how high you run the AC on your power bill. Your tracker really needs to cleanly separate these so you know exactly what you can quickly cut back on if you need to.
Now, if you're sitting there wondering exactly how much money should go where, the 50-30-20 rule is a fantastic way to help balance your categorized expenses. Ideally, 50% of your budget goes to needs, so those fixed and essential variable costs. 30% goes to wants, that's your discretionary fun money. And a solid 20% goes straight to savings and your future financial goals. Just keep this balance in the back of your mind as you start organizing your life into these categories.
So what specific categories should you actually be typing into your spreadsheet? Well, here is a fantastic, ready-to-use starter list. You've got housing and utilities, groceries, dining and takeout, transportation, health, subscriptions, and personal. I highly recommend taking about, say, 8 to 15 of these options and plugging them directly into your category column using your spreadsheet's data validation feature. Seriously, it makes daily logging an absolute breeze. You literally just click the dropdown and select. Boom, done.
Section 5. Upgrading your manual tracker.
Okay, once you've built up that basic tracking habit, here are 3 awesome 5-minute upgrades to really power up your system. First, you could add a method of payment column. Simply tracking if an expense was paid via credit, debit, or cash catches any double entry mistakes and makes end-of-month reconciliation against your bank statements so much easier. Second, add a simple tax-relevant yes or no flag. When tax season rolls around, oh man, you just filter that column by yes and your deductions list is instantly ready to go. Finally, adding a weekly sum row helps you spot rapid spending patterns in smaller, bite-sized increments rather than waiting for a nasty shock at the end of the month.
But hey, before you run off to build the most complex, crazy spreadsheet ever, just remember this. Tools enable habits. They do not create them. If you've never tracked your expenses manually before, please just stick with the free, simple 5-column basics for 30 days. Really, don't overwhelm yourself with multi-month dashboards or fancy paid upgrades right out of the gate. Just start simple, log your entries, and watch the positive behavioral change naturally follow.
So your blank spreadsheet is waiting. What will your spending story actually reveal this month? Take that 5 minutes today, build your own manual tracker, and empower yourself with the real data behind your financial life. Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer, and hey, happy tracking.